Hey, you guys, and welcome to episode 8 of the Plot Twist podcast. My name is Catherine, and I'm coming to you from Berlin, Germany, which is where I grew up and where I now live with my husband and our 3 kids. This is a slow fashion podcast focusing primarily on knitting, but also on mending and mindful consumerism. You can find me as Julenatt Mittens on Instagram and as Frau Christ on Ravelry, and I'm going to leave the links to both of those places down below in the show notes. So all the things that I talk about today that you might be interested in or want to look up, I'm going to leave down in the show notes for you in the description box below this video. It's been a few minutes since I last recorded, so I have a lot of things to show you today, to tell you today, to talk about, to just share with you. So I'm excited to be here and hang for a bit. It's been I don't know, 2.5 weeks or even more since I sat down last. Yeah, something in that neighborhood. A good 2.5 weeks, I think. More than I intended, but more on that later. I want to say right now, I have, again, this, if you're a returning viewer, in which case, welcome back. Otherwise, welcome to the channel if you're here for the first time. I hope you feel like sticking around for a bit. If you see me looking up, that's because I'm looking up to my TV to see the camera image on the television. This is the solution that I have right now. It's a tiny little bit clumsy, but it's what it is. And so that's why I might be glancing up, and also why I might be confusing left and right, because the image that I see is, well, that's not even true. It's not reversed. Hold on, it is true. It's reversed. See, that's the level of confusion that I've already got myself into, so you know what to expect. Okay, on that note, I'm drinking black tea because apparently it's of the essence out of my usual black tea out of my Debbie Bliss knitting cup, garter stitch one, and on the inside, well, I can't really show you now, it says knit to end. Oh, and it's totally smudged because this is the third cup. That's the third serving, let's put it that way. So excuse the smudges. it's just been a morning. So, well, that's my Debbie Bliss cup. I had another, I think there are 4 of them. I had another one which comes in a beautiful sort of salmon color, and that was, it must have been moss stitch, which is really my least favorite stitch, but it was such a beautiful cup with such a beautiful color too, and that broke a while ago. One of the kids broke it, and it's not a big deal. It happens, right? It could have happened to me too. It's just a cup, but I liked it so much for the color, because it's like one of my favorite colors, that sort of pink salmon. Anyway, I don't have the other 2. There is one that is slightly beige, which I have to say I don't enjoy the look of, even though I do enjoy the concept of this mug. I don't know which stitch that would have been. And then there was, I think, a gray one. I don't know if if these cups are even still made. I just assume that they are. Anyways, I haven't used it in a while, and now I somewhat rediscovered that cup when I went through my mugs. Not that I have 1,000, but I have more than I need. And so I pulled this out and I thought, I'm going to use this for a change. And today seemed like a perfect day. I use it all the time now. Okay, so I said it's been a few minutes since I last sat down to talk to you, not because I forgot, but, well, because it was a little hectic. The kids were on fall break, so everybody was home again all the time, which is so much fun, but also so stressful. If you have little ones, so my kids are ages 1 through 7, you know what that's like, and it's a lot of fun, but it costs you a lot of energy to have them around all the time, and to be like, I don't feel like I have to entertain them, but to be in a position where you need to organize every day for everyone, if you know what I mean. That's, well, and it doesn't leave any quiet or alone time really, so I didn't really have the chance to sit down. But also, and that's kind of more of a factor here, is that I felt a little restless. I've been feeling restless and a little, I don't know, not quite focused, but sort of I have to do 5,000 things, and also I didn't get to around to doing and this and that and the other thing this morning, and sort of like a headless chicken situation. I don't know. It's just a phase. I don't know that comes and goes. It's also been my very early mornings. I've been trying for many weeks now to get up every day at 5 so that I'm up before everyone else and get a bit of a alone time where I can read or knit or do both. First read for like a half an hour and then knit for an hour, and then the kids get up. That's sort of the plan. But yeah, it's been a handful. I'm not a natural early riser, not that early. Like it would never have occurred to me to get up at 5 for anything in my life before I had kids, and that's probably true for most people. but now it felt like a very good idea, and then after a few weeks it doesn't anymore for me because I feel the strain. And then again, I feel the urge to be on my own for a few minutes. I'm not a super introverted person, but I need a little bit of alone time, or I crave it. I really do. So yeah, that's been kind of my dilemma. It's not the end of the world, but I didn't really find a good rhythm. Maybe that's it. And that left me feeling a bit restless. And that also sort of ate away at my presence of mind to like sit down and talk to someone. that concept was like a little much for me. So now I feel more at ease. Is that what I want to say? I don't know. Now I feel like I'm in a position to focus on podcasting, and I'm very happy that I am because I really wanted to be back much earlier. But anyway, what do I chatter on about for so long? Let's get into things, right? Okay, first off, I'm going to tell you what I'm wearing. I'm wearing this store-bought sweater. So before anyone asked, no, I did not knit this. This is a boxy, sort of oversized sweater, which has a high-low hem, so split hem that's a little bit shorter in the front than in the back, just a little bit, like 2 centimeters or something, so an inch maybe. I'm not a fan of a split hem. I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna put it out there. I don't like split hems per se that much, but it's a feature of that sweater, and it's got these short sleeves, which is sort of perfect for the weather that we're having now, so where it's finally starting to cool down. But not so much so that you need to pull out all the heavy woolen sweaters. But it's like fingering weight sweater time, and sort of like this is a bit of a warmer sweater if it had long sleeves. But like with this construction, it's more of a, of a fall sweater for when it's not super cold yet. Okay, so I've had this forever. I love it. I can just throw it in the wash. It's not wool. I don't know if it's, oh, hold on. Okay, I'm sorry. The same thing occurred last time with my camera, and yet I didn't see it coming. Okay, so that was the little intermission. What was I saying? I don't know, something about my sweater. So this is my sweater that I've had forever and that I really enjoy wearing. And that's the story of that sweater. So it's not a hand knit, but it's well loved. And you can see peeking out underneath the straps of a hand knit, and that is the Ripple Bralette by Jessie Maed. I think, yeah, she designed that, right? So I became aware of that pattern, well, sometime along the road, but especially last summer, so this year, when Stacy of Stress Knits had this knit along, or was it late spring? I don't know, sometime this year during the warm season. She had a knit along for, I think, bralettes and tank tops and, knits without sleeves basically. So, and I became aware of that pattern and I looked at it a bit more closely and I thought, so that might be interesting. I'm just gonna give it a go because what can happen, right? Worst thing that can happen is I don't like it, so I can rip it out. And I knit this thing and I have to say I am really pleasantly surprised. It's a real good, easy, not overly complicated, a real good construction, in the sense that it is really crafted but easy to execute, right? It's not a hard knit, so it's totally beginner friendly, and I feel like, and and the yarn, wrong side. The yarn is a Paint Pastel Princess, that's the colorway, by Molly of Homespun House. And for once, which doesn't really happen often to me, I was influenced by Molly's Instagram stories. And she kept showing that new colorway that sometime during the spring of 2022 hit her shop. And she had like 3 colorways. I couldn't really wait for her to add them to her shop, which is weird because I usually don't have that I see a colorway, I'm like, oh, when can I buy this? Because I am generally in that mindset of I have enough yarn and I won't be casting on now anyway. So, but I wanted to really have this colorway. So I bought, as soon as it was available, I bought one skein of Paint Pastel Princess. That's what it's called. I find this a little bit clumsy, but that's the name that is. And I thought I might give it a go with this project where I could see like whether or not I like the pooling, if there was any, because I'm usually not a fan of pooling, and how I like the colorway just generally, and whether I would want to use it for something else because the colors are, well, what they are. So mint I wouldn't usually wear, and also the bright pastelliness of it, if that makes any sense at all, but for me that's what it looks like a little bit. So that I loved the look of it, I wanted to work with it, but I didn't know what I would make, like in terms of garment. I wouldn't necessarily put this colorway in a garment, I thought, that I like in a sweater or a shawl for that matter. And then I thought, okay, I'm gonna try it out on a little project and then I can still decide. And I loved knitting it. It was such a fun colorway to just have on your needles and see all those fun, bright, happy colors slip over the needles. So I can really recommend that if you're a person who, like me, just like really enjoys the colors in their knitting. So yeah, so that's that. And I'm definitely casting on another. I may have decided on the yarn for it, or I might not have. I don't know. I thought I did, but now that I think about it. Anyway, so that's something for next year for sure. But I'm going to knit 1 or 2 more of these because, I don't know, it's really cozy, really warm. I don't know, it feels very cozy to wear. Right. Okay, and people, I have a finished object for you, which you didn't even see me cast on. Because I cast it on, I want to say 2 days or so after I last spoke to you. And in the meantime, I finished it. Because it was just so much fun, and it had been on my mind for so long. I put it in the kitchen, which is, I keep telling you that I store my knitting in the kitchen because there is one spot where I put it, where I hang it, and that's right next to where I sit usually. And so when I want to grab something during breakfast or when the kids are still in bed, then that's where I keep my things, you know. So so that's where it lived, and it's a quick knit, and it's finished. It's another everyday slouchy beanie. And when my husband saw it, he was like, "What size is this? This is much too big. Like, who's supposed to wear this?" It looks very big, but that is because there is no ribbing in the is that the brim? That's supposed to be the brim, right? Like, you would usually have ribbing here, And with the Everyday Slouchy Beanie, you don't. So, well, how it's constructed is, if you don't already know, you cast on with a provisional cast, you cast on with a provisional cast on, about right here, and then you knit your way up, just plain stockinette, and then you knit all the way to here, like you knit double the amount of the brim that you want, and then you pick up, the stitches from your provisional cast on, so that you have 2 sets of life stitches, and then you knit them all together, which gives you a double thickness over your ears. So you have double the amount of fabric covering your ears and forehead and so on. And then you switch to a slightly larger needle and knit your way all the way up through the rest of the hat, and then you close it, and then that's that. And you can see, so it's been a very popular pattern. I've knit 3 of those before, 2 of which I've worn a lot, 1 of which I'm thinking of gifting because it's really just not my colors, which I knew before, but they were so beautiful and so fun to knit with. And I had a skein that I didn't know what to do with, so this is going to be a Christmas gift for someone. And I'm going to tell you about the yarn in a second, but now I'm going to show you. Hold on. So this, I'm trying to show you the halo. Can you see that tealy halo? I think you can, because it shines a little bit, right? So in real life, this is much more, no, it looks like dark blue on screen, right? But it is really so much more of a teal colorway. Well, what can I do? It sort of doesn't, it shows a bit darker than it is in real life for me, but I think that's because I see that tealy halo of the mohair silk that's in there, and that kind of gets lost a little bit on screen. So imagine it a bit more tealy. The yarn is a stash yarn from my mother-in-law, who did a little de-stash, I don't know, 2-3 months ago. And I went through it. She said she's getting rid of these yarns, not in the sense of throwing them in the trash, but like she wanted to donate them to our kindergarten or, wherever. But first she said, take whatever you want. And I found a few skeins, partial skeins, of what is, tagless yarn, but what was obviously a non-superwash yarn. And there was, well, anyway, I thought I had 2 samples, but I seem to have lost them. Anyways, oh man. Okay, so I used 2 different sets of colors. I have 2 more of those non-superwash yarns that I found in her stash, 2 different colors. I think they've all belong together. So I have a very dark gray, sort of medium gray. Then I had a teal color that I used for the brim. And you can see that there is a color difference between the brim and the rest of the hat, which is exactly why, right? Because I used this tealy yarn up here, and you can really see a line going through here about where the double, the folded brim ends and the body of the hat sort of begins, right? Because, see, you can see it right there. So that's with the tealy non-superwash yarn, and this is a dark blue non-superwash yarn. And both of those are held double with a kid silk mohair drops yarn that she had. She had I don't know, 2 balls of those or something like that, and I didn't weigh them stupidly, so now I cannot tell you how much yarn I used, but if you're interested, just check out one of my other Everyday Slouchy Beanies on Ravelry, because I kept track there, I want to say. And so, yeah, that's the yarn, the dark blue and the teal, and it all sort of blends together with that mohair yarn, and it is just a fun project. I mean, I've knit this hat 4 times for a reason, right? It's such a fun quick knit. I love the slouch of it. I've made two of the hats that I knit a little bit less slouchy, and yet they're roomy enough. And yeah, because this is not ribbed, the brim doesn't stretch so much further, so that it's still like snug around your head. So this is my finished object, my everyday slouchy beanie, which now I can actually wear because I've shown it to you. Then on to my works in progress. So there are two sock projects, as you know, in case you're a returning viewer, so this is going to be quick. There is one finished everyday, what's it called? Hermione's everyday socks. I finished one of these. Hold on. So that's one. And a second has been cast on. There you go. That's a little frustrating that it won't focus when I hold it closer to the screen, but maybe you can see. I mean, it's just an everyday, no, not an everyday slouchy sock like the everyday slouchy beanie, but a Hermione's everyday sock. This is the second one. I'm having issues with my voice today, which I didn't realize before. That's interesting. And that is, oh, there's still a progress keeper on there. That's my finished sock with the donut on it. Hold on, doesn't want to turn around. See? Well, it doesn't want to be seen. We have to respect that. So the yarn is Wollmeise, Rohrspatz Wollmeise, in what I think is an aubergine color. That is frustrating. It doesn't focus. Okay, folks, we have to deal. So that is what I got for my birthday. A Wollmeise DK, no, hold on. Wollmeise Rohrspatz in a lace weight yarn. The colorway is Tief im Vulkan, so deep inside the volcano. And I think it's a beautiful sort of purpley aubergine color. And this is a silk sock yarn, Regia Schachenmeier, so a German sock yarn. Why am I holding it close? Because it won't focus anyway. If you need more information, go check this out on my Ravelry page. So one is finished, and I have one more sock to go, and that's that project. I'm knitting on a 2.25 millimeter needle, as I usually do with my socks, and the ones that you saw were Chaogu red lace, which are amazing. I love them. The only thing is, I bought the set of needles, the Chaogu red lace, a fixed set of circular needles. It's a 100 centimeter cord, which, what is that? That must be a 40-inch cord, right? I wouldn't do that again for socks. It's just too long. It always gets tangled. Like the sock, when you pull the loop, the sock always gets stuck in the loop, so you have to pull it out of the loop, which is not a big deal, but if you do it like every time you loop your needles around. I love magic loop, but oh, that's just a pain. So I don't know why I haven't invested in a different set. I don't know. I don't indulge in that way. I tend to think like, oh, I can make it work, but it's slightly annoying. And I got them because I only had those at the store when I was there. Like, that's stupid. But so I wanted different ones and they didn't have it, so I thought, oh, that's okay. Well, that was the whole mistake right there. So then there's another finished sock with the crazy yarn that I showed you last time. It looks like a baby sock now. It's not so teeny tiny. So it's a sock for a full-grown adult person. It's the Rainbow Connection socks by Cave, the Crazy Sock Lady, which give you this sort of stripy pattern on the front and a whole different stripy pattern on the back. And the yarn is, this is just a standard sort of commercial sock yarn by Jawohl. Hold on, I can show you. Oh man, this is all tangled. I'm gonna have to leave some of the yarn inside. So that's Lang Jawohl Superwash in the colorway 2113, which is a color that I ordered online with a bunch of other colors, and then when I got it I thought, ouch, that's not what I wanted. I thought it would be a whole different shade of pink, like more pastel-y, more what I had in mind. I don't know. But it is what it is, and I didn't want to send one skein back, so I kept it. I thought, well, I'm gonna use it for something, and now I'm using it for this. And the main the contrasting color is stash yarn that I had, mystery stash yarn, but also a superwash commercial sock yarn, a German brand. So nothing too fancy, hard wearing enough, but also soft enough. So just right. And I cast on the second sock with my little what's it called? Progress keeper. Yeah, and put the cuff on those DPNs, double pointed needles, because I needed the 2.25 millimeter Knit Pro Zings that I use for this project for something else I'm going to show you in a little bit. And yeah, it was I knew I was just going to use that needle for a day, and so I switched those, and I'm going to switch back. Okay, so that's the other sock project, so that I always have a sock on the go and know where to find some comfort knitting or a mindless knitting, so I have something to do. When I have like 10 minutes, I don't have to dive into a sweater pattern that I have to think about. I can just grab those and go. Okay. Next up is my little advent calendar for my daughter. I showed you 3, so I'm making her a Julevotter, a mitten advent calendar, like I made for my boys. I'm going to show you in a second. And I showed you last time, oops, I'll show you the back, but there's yarn dangling out. I showed you last time and I had 3 mittens done, and now I have 10 mittens done. It would have been many more, but during those last days, over the last days, I got distracted. Usually it's what I work on in the evenings. So I had another hiccup with my camera, so I hope this is it for today. We're good to go. Okay, excuse me. So the project I was about to say is living in my grandmother's handbag. And this is where I keep my needle, the little pattern, which is free pattern if you want to get cracking on one of those for someone in your life. And this is where I keep the yarn that I pull from and sort of improvise a color palette. This is really not a project that I overthought in some way. I just do like a little one of those mittens at a time, and it gives me much joy. So I'm going to show you the ones that I have already made. Oh, hold on. The yarn is the same as the pink one that I'm using for the sock, as the one that I'm using for the, No, hold on. It's a mixture. So there's this Lang Jawohl commercial superwash sock yarn, and there is Filcolana Avetta Classic, which is like another one of those. They're virtually identical. So these are them in a whole bunch of colorways that are all numbered, but I lost many of the tags. And so here's little mitten number 1 for the 1st of December. And it comes with a little color work on the back, obviously, as well. And so the idea is that you make 24 of those, because we celebrate Christmas on the 24th. That's when you get gifts, right? The 25th is Christmas Day, where we're all home and eat and eat and eat. And then we do have the 26th as the second Christmas Day, which is also a holiday where everybody stays home, eats, watches TV, and relaxes into post-holiday bliss, sort of. So that is, the idea is that you have 24 of those, and like every day you can put a little something in here. Emphasis on a little something because it's teeny tiny, but I think, I could have used bigger, heavier yarn. I held the yarn that I've shown you double, so this is a fingering weight held double. But I'm only using a 2.5 millimeter needle, so with color work you can make it much bigger by using other yarn or different needles, or both of those, bigger needles and heavier yarn. But I like it when they're this small, so for the boys who are a bit older, I can put a little something sweet in there. Or sometimes I pop them a letter in where I say, today you get to do this and that, or we get to go someplace fun, or we get to make cookies that you want, the ones that you love the most, or I don't know what. And sometimes they have a little other sort of treat in there, like a little addition to their toys, like with Lego or Playmobil, you can add like teeny tiny bits and they're like over the moon and like, oh, I can use this with that, and run to their kids' room. Or I can, for my daughter, I have collected a whole bunch of little animals because she's super into animals that I'm going to put in here. And she kind of tries to, she will turn 2 in January, and she tries to imitate their voices, and it's just so precious. So I'm going to put all kinds of little animals in here that she can play with because she really does that right now. So that's going to be very cute. She doesn't get that many sweets now because she's only so little. But for the boys, every once in a while, it's going to be chocolate or some fun in there. And that's number 2. I'm going to quickly show you the individual mittens because they're also precious. I don't want to just, and it's hard to show the collection of them without like stringing them together. This is number 4. And hold on, where's 5? Oh, with number 5, I must have hit a day when I was super stressed because it's, you can see, a little puckery and much tighter than the others. I love the back though. On this one, it's smaller, it's tighter and really visibly smaller than the others. Can you see this? What's going on? Like, what's happened? I don't know. I'm considering reknitting this because it bugs me a little bit, but okay, it's what it is. Number 6, I relaxed a little more into number 6, but not quite. And then with 7, I was like back on track. I don't know. Oh, but yeah. I'm only going to steam block them, and the way that I do this is I like this pattern on the back, even though it's a bit uneven down there. Doesn't matter though. It's just a calendar. I'm going to put them on a moist towel and wrap it around, and then I'm going to, for a moment, iron over it. Not for too long. Don't linger because then you're going to ruin the fabric. That's number 8. Ooh, bright and shiny. I am sorry, what is that today? I feel like I'm getting a sore throat, but I wasn't even aware until I sat down to talk to you. It's number 9. Ooh, I like that one. That's the one that I've also loved with in my second son's advent calendar, where I chose like a dark green and gold for this one. I distinctly remember. Isn't that so fun? And then I'm back to my baby colors. But I sort of like them together. And I had to find something with enough of a contrast, and some of the colors are too similar. And I don't always want to use white. I mean, I could, but I wanted a bit of a variation. Let's see. I've said before that, so this is all the ones that I have. I need to get cracking so I am ready for, when the individual days come. But it's definitely doable. I said before that I'm not a pro with what's it called, color work knitting. It's not it doesn't come natural to me. naturally. It doesn't, I'm not a native colorwork knitter like some people are. I think like my mother is. And when I said to her, like, I'm always afraid, not now, that was a conversation a few years ago. I'm always afraid of the tension, that I don't get the tension right. So I'm going to hold one strand in my right hand and one in my left. I'm just going to, you know, pick them up with the needle. I'm not going to throw them, but I just pick it with the needle. And that is what comes easiest to me. But I'm always afraid that my tension is, or I always have the feeling too that my tension is too tight. And she says, oh, you'll get the hang of it, you know, don't you worry. And I thought, yeah, sure. And like with everything in knitting, you just do it and then you learn it and you get better. And I do get better, but ever so slowly. I mean, I also said last time that I think this small circumference, because I can say it's a free pattern. It's a 13 stitch, so a 26 stitch circumference. So you have 13 stitches on each needle. That's not a lot. And so with color work, I find the corners very fiddly, and with such a small project circumference, and then I hold the yarn double, I find this a little stressful in the sense that I'm always a little annoyed with puckering. Or when I relax even more into the knitting and have a much, like, try to really not pull too tightly. I have issues with this camera today, you guys. I had to get up again. Oh, excuse me. So it was really quite a mess today. But so when I pull too tightly, it will pucker. And when I don't try to like pull too much, then there's going to be one stitch that is just bigger than the others, and that's going to annoy me. So I'm going to try and fix that the next round, and that's just such a headache. So I don't want to overthink this because it's a teeny tiny mitten project and it's going to be lovely no matter what. But I don't know. The perfectionist in me is not happy with color work results. I have another project on my needles that I'm going to talk about, that I'm going to show you in a bit. So, oh, I might even show you now. I think it's what I'm about to show you now. Okay, so this just temporarily lives in my bag that I used at the yarn store to like wrap the yarn when I ordered it way back when. So this tote bag says today's been canceled, go back to bed. I would if I could, but I can't. So, you know. And it holds a bunch of yarn that I got for different projects. Let me take all of the stuff out. Oh, there's something in there I didn't even know it was in there. Does that also happen to you, that you unpack your bag that you've just packed like a week or two ago? It can't have been 2 weeks. It must have been like a week ago. And then you're like surprised when you pull something out and like, I didn't even know it was in there. Oh my God, I don't know what it says about me, but yeah. So the story of this project is the following. I got my tea, my coffee. My tea is getting cold and my throat is still itching, so that's not a good combination. You've gotten yourself into something, tuning into this podcast today. So I really appreciate your sticking around. Okay, I bought a Rauma Finul yarn PT2 that if you've ever watched the Ellie of Skeindeer Knits, you will definitely have heard before. So I chose this. It's a non-superwash yarn from Norway. So Rauma, I think, is a Norwegian company. So it's a non-superwash yarn that is a bit there's a bit toothier, but lovely, sticky, perfect for color work, and not rough on your skin. Like it's not soft, but it's not itchy. It's like a really beautiful fingering weight, sort of rustic yarn, but not crazy itchy. I love non-superwash yarn. I really have to say I do. And so I ordered this this colorway. Oh, it's right here. Number 4133, that's the pink, this light pink color. I ordered white, or yeah, a sort of white color. Number 403 and number 4123, the dark blue, like a navy color. I love navy blue and pink together. I think you really cannot beat the combination of dark blue and pink, light pink. Like really light, soft pink and a dark navy blue. Perfect. Of course, those go together. Oh my god. Of course, those go together as well. So, what I initially wanted to make was this. A mitten, also by Ellie of Skeindeer Knits. But look how big it turned out. So that's on a 2.5 millimeter needle, which would be a US size 1.5. See? It's, what's it called? Julenatt. So Christmas night, right? That's the back of the mitten. So yeah, I mean, it turned out okay. It's not steam blocked or anything, but the thing is, and I'm tall, like I'm a tall person, and I have tall long Nordic hands, if you will. And if I put this on, I mean, I can wear them, or the mitt, because it's one, singular, right? It's just one. That's what it looks like. I mean, it does work. Now that I come to think of it, but I didn't knit the second one because I thought it was too big, because it's super roomy up here, and it I thought I have to switch to a smaller needle, and I was just scared that it would pucker even more if I did that, so I didn't. And I never knit the second one, but now that I have it on, I mean, when you're pushing a stroller all the time, this extra fabric that I'm assuming is inevitably there with that shape is sort of in the way. But now that I wear them, they're lovely, not itchy at all, really warm, and like the thumb isn't too roomy. Oh, maybe I can just knit the second one and not rip this back. It's too nice to let it go, sort of. I loved this motif. I just loved it. I thought it was just so beautifully designed. Yeah, I really thought it was just gorgeous. Yeah, so now that I come to think of it, like, what do you think? What should I do? I think I'm just gonna knit the second one, right? Seems like a good idea, because now they don't seem that gigantic anymore. Okay, right. That's something to keep in mind. A good thing is I can always get more of the yarn, and it really, like with the mitten, it doesn't matter if I buy a new skein of these, because now, I bought yarn for those, and then I loved the yarn, and then I bought a sweater's quantity worth of this dark blue, and I think 2 balls of this pink yarn. So the white that I showed you comes from that, from the mitten stash, if you will. And I bought this to make an Isbre sweater, also by Ellie of Skeindeer. So I was on a Skeindeer, this is my Skeindeer project, my Skeindeer yarn. I don't know. I was on a Skeindeer kick. Still am, because her designs are beautiful and I wanted to support her, and I thought, so Julenatt, the mittens were definitely, they were a no-brainer. I knew I was going to make them. Make one mitten at any rate. And the Isbre sweater, which by now, and for quite some time, and it's been out, also has a matching hat, which I thought, was so neat, so I would have made the set, I thought. Because there's just something about the set that I thought was just very pretty. And then I stumbled across, again, because I knew that this pattern was out there and I had been considering it before, but I again stumbled across her Festive Yoke pullover. And if you watch her podcast or follow her on Instagram, you will be aware of this. So it's a paper pattern. I'm not showing you anything except the images that are included here, just so you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so I am going for not this version right here where it's just the yoke and then plain stockinette. I'm going for one of the, like, for this all over color work style, because I think it's amazing. And I thought when I saw this a little while ago, just recently on Allie's podcast, I thought, oh, that looks so nice. And then I thought, why not cast it on? Because last time I talked to you, I had like 5,000 works in progress lying around me, many of which were freshly cast on. In the meantime, I cast on another project, my hat, which I finished. And I kept working on everything, and I am enjoying everything, but it's not, none of the projects really had my heart. And I was never, again, ever since I finished my stripes sweater, I was never again in that mode where I thought, this is all I want to knit on. I can't wait until I can sit down and knit a few rows. None of the projects were like that for me. Or maybe for a day, and then the mojo was kind of gone again. So that I kept searching for the right project to come my way, really. And when I saw the sweater again, or became re-aware, I wanted to say, like when I became aware of it again, I thought that might be it. I really felt like this might be the project that I'm looking for. With every cast on, and it's okay to cast on things to sort of try them out and see if they're the ones that you're really hungry for. And if not, you can give them some time and just let them be and get back to them. Or not. It's also okay to not get back to them and just rip them out. But I had a feeling that this might be it. And so I immediately knew I was going to go for the all over color work. And I'm looking at the pictures as I speak, so because it's just so lovely. And I bought the pattern, and I thought, okay, so which colors am I going to go for? And I had recently, I'm looking over there because that's where it is, I had like rearranged my shelf where I keep my works in progress and some of my yarns. And they were living in like this cotton tote bag that they came in, those skeins right here, the Ramafinu, right? And I had this mitten project. So I threw them all together in one bag and thought, why not use that? And I can use the pink for the contrasting color because I think, I have 2 balls. That should be enough. But the good thing is that I also have the white, or whatever color that is, but this light color. So I can also throw this in there. So in other words, I'm not going to run out of contrasting color, and it really does not matter at all if I rotate from pink to white to pink to white to pink to white, from like motif to motif. I have, in other words, I realized I have everything that I need, and I would really enjoy like a dark blue festive yoke sweater with light pink and white Christmassy motifs on it. And so I checked with the pattern, I have enough yarn, and I thought, oh, perfect. I really meant to knit the Isbre sweater. I think it's beautiful, and I hope that I'm going to knit it one day. But I immediately thought, I'm not going to knit it now. I'm not going to cast it on in January or February. In all honesty, it's going to probably still be waiting, the yarn is still going to be waiting for me come next winter. And I don't want to keep good, fun yarn and have it just be there weighing on my conscience. Like, why don't you knit me? Why don't you knit the sweater that you bought me for? I'd rather use it for a different project. And if I ever feel like I want to knit the Isbre, I can still get the yarn. This is really not expensive. I mean, what's expensive? Back when I was a student, this would have been expensive too. Like, I would have thought about the expense of, But one ball is €5, I think. Something like that, but I think that's what it is. And I think for the Isbre, I spent €40. That's not a lot of money to spend on a wool sweater, right? I mean, granted, I have to knit it, but it's still not a lot of money to spend on a sweater's quantity. So, and it's non-superwash yarn, like good yarn. So I thought, I'm just gonna use it. I'm just gonna use it. Why keep it and have it, like I said, weigh on my conscience? I can make something fun with it right now, and that's amazing. So I got even more excited, and then brace yourselves, I swatched. I'm gonna spare you the entire swatch. It's a bit of a mess. I'm just gonna show you like these two because those are the ones that matter, because like I thought for the sweater I absolutely have to swatch because I don't want the frustration is waiting around the corner for me with color work anyways. So I wanted to have as little of that as I could, or I want to have as little encounters with frustration as I can with color work. So I just absolutely have to swatch. And not just like knit 2 centimeters and then until I can, roughly estimate and then rip it back out. But I thought I have to make a proper swatch that I have to steam block, and then, with different needle sizes. And I did do that. I did. I was a proper swatcher, you guys. So I did do that. So, and I swatched with different size needles, even with those that I thought might be too big. Like I had a hunch that they would be too big, and it turned out to be. But I thought maybe the hiccup that I've been always having with color work is that I choose too small of a needle size. So I thought, why not do a proper swatch with a host of sizes and also include larger ones than I would usually gravitate towards. And this mitten was made in 2.5 with a 2.5 millimeter needle, and it's a little puckery, maybe because of that, possibly. Then again, if I were to knit this again to make it smaller, I would have to go down to 2.25 millimeters, so that the mitten becomes a little bit smaller. And I'm afraid that would make it even more puckery. So that was my entire thing with this project. But I thought for a sweater, you want a different sort of drape. Because it's not a mitten, it's a sweater, And yeah, granted, a colorwork sweater, but so it's going to inevitably have a bit more structure. It's not going to be super drapey, but yeah, maybe a bigger needle size is what's called for, I figured. So I swatched with, in this case, hold on, 3.25 millimeter needles and 3.5 millimeter needles. And then I went up another size, but that was definitely too big. So in US terms, that would be a 3 and a 4. Okay, so US 3, US 4. And I included 2 of the motifs that I contemplated for the sweater, and I wanted to see how they knit up. So that's the heart, one of the heart motifs, and that is the antler pattern, like the deer, right? Okay, and in the end I went for, so this is the stitch gauge that I needed. It's a 24 stitch gauge. So I opted for this sort of color work gauge, and this, as you can see, it is a bit puckery and a bit, sorry, I'm covering my mouth. The antlers or the moose or whatever it is, the deer, are a bit puckery and a bit loosey-goosey at the same time. So I like the stitch definition on the hearts much more. So that's the one. That's the version that I went for, the needle size that I chose. So I'm knitting on a hold on, 3.25 millimeter needle because I cast on the sweater. And the pattern says to go down an entire needle size, so an entire millimeter for your collar, cuffs, and hem. So for the edging, basically. So that's my swatch, and that's what I needed my Knit Pro Zings 2.25 millimeter needles for, so that's why I took them out of my sock project. And so I cast on for my festive sweater, and there's nothing really to see except this. So it looks teeny tiny, but it stretches. So that's my my cast on. Cast on, do a 2x2 rib. Then Ellie has added short rows, which I appreciate a lot. And I've just last night finished the short row section, and now I think it will be time for the first motif. These are 3.25 millimeter needles. Like I said, this is Knit Pro Zing. I really enjoy them on an 80 centimeter cord, but that would be, I don't know what that would be in inches. So that's that. I am very excited about this, and I'm going to show you the image. Again, that comes in the pattern. I think I really like how this tree motif looks up here in the yoke, like so far up, and I'm definitely doing that. So I'm not sure like what my first motif is going to be, and then there's definitely going to be that tree motif, and Ellie included 3 different ones, and I'm definitely choosing this to go up here. And if you look, she has another one here. You see this right there, and then she included the 3rd tree motif way down there. See right here. So yeah, she took advantage of all 3 of them. I don't know, this is so exciting to me. I love this. And I'm definitely going with the deer that all 3 of those ladies included, the ones that are running, or walking, where you see the entire thing. See, the other 2 also included them. Like also she who only knit the yoke with motifs. Aren't all of these versions just so stunning? That is just the project that I wanted, that I needed, and I think it really has my heart. And I hope, I don't want to like put expectations on my knitting projects, because like what's the good in that? But I really hope that this is going to just like take me away, to a happy knitting place. Like that this is a project where I can really get into the flow of knitting. I appreciate each and every stitch that I knit, even if it's a project that I kind of struggle with or that I'm not sure about, or I love all of this, all of the different sort of phases and stages of knitting, but I really long for a project that just becomes like everything I want to work on, because being a monogamous knitter for me is very relaxing and comforting, but it also has to be with the right project. I mean, I can power through something for sure, but it's just so much more enjoyable if it's like all you want to do all the time, So I'm really hoping on another one of those projects that just carries you away, that just it's just all that you want to work on. Yeah, I'm sort of hoping that this is it for me, and I can stop the search and not cast on everything that I see. I'm exaggerating obviously, but like, you know what I mean. You will have probably experienced that as well. Feel free to share your experience with that, or I don't know, just leave a comment below. I mean, obviously feel free to leave a comment below, but if you know that sort of stage or if experienced it as well, are experiencing it right now, possibly. So yeah, that's my festive yoke sweater. I don't know that I'm gonna finish it by Christmas, but why not? It might be fun. If it is what I think it is, and it just like takes my heart and it's all I want to do, then I might as well be finished by the time Christmas rolls around the corner. But because it's just what I'm going to be doing. I also thought with that festive sweater, it felt like an exercise for me, and I want to swatch and I want to get it right. I want to be happy with my knitting experience. I don't want to be cross with myself for not swatching properly, for not taking the time, etc., etc. And at the same time, it's supposed to be fun, right? It's inevitably going to be a sweater that is so fun, and that I feel pour all of my seasonal love into, you know? So it's also going to be what it is. Okay, so I want to get it right. I want to have a good experience with color work, just because I want to get to that point where I can relax more into color work knitting, which just doesn't come easy to me. It's just what it is. And also, it's supposed to be an exercise in it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be fun. And a totally wonky sweater is not going to be fun, right? But that's how far my swatching was supposed to go. And everything else is everything else. And I opted for the size that gives me not a lot of positive ease. So she says you can have, like, it's designed for 0 to 8 inches of positive ease. So that's quite a big span, right? 8 inches, it's fancy, that's 20 centimeters. So that's like this much. That's a lot. So that's basically the sweater almost, right? And I didn't want that much of positive ease. So I went for a much tighter fit, and I thought I might wear the sweater with a skirt rather than with jeans. So that would look nice if it were a bit more fitted, not super tight, but also not oversized, right? Let's see what comes out. I mean, I swatched and I did my math, but you never know. Okay, on to, mending, for a lack of a better category or a better word. Today I'm going to show you things that I found on the street. Okay, I live in Berlin, and often people in my neighborhood put boxes on the street where they say to be gifted, and you can just grab what you want. I do this all the time. When we had our big declutter this summer, I put out boxes like a crazy person and said, this is just to be gifted, pick whatever you want, and people took it. Some kids really, like, every now and then find a little treasure, you know. And I found a little treasure when I went walking with my daughter just a few days ago. So I just took this out of the box. It's not even washed yet. Oh man, my stupid camera. Excuse me if every other shot of me is just so different here in this video. So I found a little dress in one of those boxes. I'm going to show you. Isn't that so cute? It's just a little dress that's too big for her now, because like I said, she's not even 2. And I looked at it, and then I thought, like, hold on a second, this is hand sewn, right? You can see how this is handmade. This is a hand sewn dress. And I thought, oh, that makes it so precious. I'm going to take that. And then I saw it's ripped in the back. Do you see this? It's got this little hole in there, or it's not little. It's got this hole. So I'm going to have to fix this, but I think you can fix it, and it's still going to be such a nice dress. So that is going to be a future Maed. I'm going to wash this, I'm going to fix it, and then I'm going to put it in a box so that you can wear it in, I don't know, 2 years time maybe. And then I found something else on the street. I found 3 sweaters lying in the rain on the street next to one of those containers where you can dump your stuff. And I have many thoughts on this, because throwing things in a container, at least where I live, is a bad idea, because the clothes are just going to be shredded right? Um, they're not going to be resold. They're not going to be given to someone in need. They're not going to be worn by anyone ever again because they're going to be shredded. And those sweaters that I'm about to show you, 2 out of those 3, so I'm going to show you 2 out of the 3 because the other one hasn't been washed yet. I found them lying in the rain. And I thought that's not a situation that I could accept at all. Like, I'm the sort of person, I cannot walk past this. I thought, I mean, either put your stuff in the container, which is not a good idea, but it's a decision, right? Or don't put it in there. But what's the use in like throwing it on the ground and having it just, be left to the elements to consume, sort of, and be a nuisance to everyone walking past it. So, and I thought, these are wool sweaters. I'm going to take them home and wash them and see who needs them, who can need them, who wants to wear them, because I couldn't do it. And when I got home and I checked the labels, I realized that all 3 of them are hand wash items. So they're 100% wool, which I didn't realize. I thought they weren't as fancy, sort of, as they actually are. And this is the first one. So I put them individually in plastic bags and put them in the freezer for 3-4 days, just because I don't know the household that they're coming from, and there's no way that they're bringing moths into our house. So that will kill moth if they're in there. Okay, I let them freeze for days, and then like I stored them on the balcony, and then the next, and then the next. So that's one. That's an alpaca sweater, 100%. Look at this. Isn't that such a beautiful sweater? I love this color work motif. You guys, this is so soft. This is so beautiful. This is not my size, but I really desperately want to keep it because it's so beautiful. Oh, look at this. Like, I just think it's a beautiful sweater, right? Because it's a juxtaposition of like this more traditional sort of motif, or traditional looking motif at any rate, and then this, oh man, it's soft and slippery, this more sort of modern take on a yoke, and a yoke motif, but it's elegant, it's edgy, right? But very elegant, and also like the colors make it so muted, and then there again goes your more sort of traditional Norwegian color work. Very, very soft. There were holes to be mended, which may be why the person threw the entire thing away, I'm assuming. But see, you can hardly tell. Like, there was a hole up here and one down there, and I closed both of them in no time at all. And so I was very easy on the fabric, obviously, but I mean, if you don't know the hole exists, you're never going to notice, right? Then there was one, hold on, here, and that's more visible because I had to go over that a little more. You see this thing happening right here? There. But again, if you don't know, and I hold up the sweater, you're good, right? And then there is another spot somewhere, see, that I can't even find now. There was another hole that was the biggest, it was a bigger hole, but I don't even see where it is. See, that's a good sign. Not that I mended it so professionally, but just that it is easy to fix this, and you don't have to be a pro. You can just try. It's just mending, people. If you're scared of ruining the thing, it's got a hole in it anyways, so you're not going to make it worse, and you can still put something over it or undo your mending or seek help. You're not going to ruin something that has holes in it. right? Something that you're not wearing because you think it's ruined. You cannot make it worse. You can only make it better, right? Anyways, I can't find the fourth hole, so yay. That's it. That's the sweater. I'm gonna see what I make with that. I thought maybe I can just wear it on the couch at home at night. Or maybe I'm going to decide to give it to someone, or maybe I'm going to decide to wear it with a skirt so that it brings in all that fabric, because it looks very big on me and it is extremely long. And the sleeves, like when I let my arms just dangle, the sleeves they cover my fingertips. Barely, but they do. It looks like I'm wearing my older sister's garment, sort of. But you know, I'm still deciding what I'm going to do with that. But I can't believe someone dumped down the road. That's what I'm saying. And another sweater that I picked up is this one. I'm first going to show you, and then I'm going to talk about it. So this is also 100% wool, and it's got no holes in it that I am aware of. I think it is in very, very good very good condition. There's a tiny little hole here on the cuff, so I'm still gonna have to check that. It has been drying over the last few days on our rack. So I do really enjoy the pattern on this one. See how these, oh, hold on, wrong hand. Where is that? How these overlap, like how these, how the stripes are arranged. And also like in this corner, or in the, on the waist, there's just this little detail right here that I find really nice. It's just a very pretty sweater, I thought. Again, it's a big size. Or let's say, no, it's not a big size. Again, it's a bigger size than I would have chosen for myself. But that doesn't matter. Winter is upon us, and even if our fall has not been cold at all, it may well be that our winter is going to be cold, and everybody talks about how prices are going to go up for heating like crazy. And I think I'm going to give this to my mother if she wants it. I told her that the sweater exists. I'm going to send her a picture. Now that it's fully dried, I'm going to take a picture, and then I'm going to mend the tiny little holes that may or may not be there, and then she can say whether or not she wants to have it, or she can come over and try it on, or whatever. Because I thought she could use it. I know she doesn't have many wool sweaters, and I think many people are scared of how the prices are going to be this winter for heating. So I think it's a very good idea to have a good heavy wool sweater that keeps you warm at night when you're, in front of your TV, or I don't know what, at home, or even not at home. I don't know. I just thought she might enjoy this, and so I'm going to, look through the sweater. Is that what I say? I'm just going to make sure that the sweater is good to go, and that she can have it if she wants it. If she doesn't, I'm definitely going to find someone else for this thing. I have the third sweater still in our refrigerator, in our freezer. I have a sweater in our refrigerator. No, I have the third sweater in our freezer, and I think this is going to go to a close friend of mine, because I thought that might be her style, sort of. And she already said she could use it. So if she likes it and it fits her, which I think it should, which I think it should, it's going to be hers. So that's my story of like things that I found. And it's hard for me to walk past these containers that are over full and not take everything home and wash it, because I mean, I can't possibly do that, but I have such an urge to like save garments from being destroyed, because I think it just troubles me that people don't care about their garments. Like even if you bought something like at H&M or even Primark or I don't know where, and you wear it and you like your stuff, right? And I like my shirts. I would never dump them on the road. I mean, also what bothers me about this is that fast fashion is such a huge factor in climate change, and it, in theory, so easy to get rid of. We don't need new technologies. We just need to not buy everything and then dump it, you know? That is really our responsibility, and we need to teach our kids. If my son loses something in school, a garment or at kindergarten, we're after it until we have reclaimed it, and they're sad if their garments vanish, like they want their stuff. And that's how it's supposed to be, I think. We long to connect, not just to people and places, but also to things. And things that we wear on our bodies, I mean, that's an intimate affair. You know how much water is needed to produce cotton t-shirts and jeans. Why not wear them until they really fall apart and are beyond mending? And then you still don't have to dump them. It's hard for me to not take all of the clothes home, which obviously I cannot do. But when I find things like these sweaters, I really thought, no, I could just not accept that this happens. I mean, no, I can't. I won't accept wool sweaters in the rain, on the street, left to the elements, because I think people need this. Everybody talks about how they're so scared that prices are going up, and rightly so, everybody is, right? And at the same time, this happens. I'm like, excuse me? Can someone please explain? Because I don't understand. So, yeah, this, as you can see, bugs me extremely. And I just refuse to accept that, because it's stupid and it's so wasteful, and we don't get to be that wasteful anymore. These times are over. I mean, if they ever were, but if there ever was a time to be wasteful, which I'm not sure of, but now is certainly not the time, and we just have the responsibility to treat our garments with care and respect. And if I bought something that I don't anymore enjoy, which, yes, sure, that happens, right? Or that's never really fit me, blah, 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 then I have to make sure that I do something useful with it. And that can be donating it to a thrift store, right? It doesn't have to be a lot of work. But dumping it on a road is certainly not an option, I think. And the consequence has to be that in the future, I am much more careful of what I buy and let into my house, right? If that is how I feel about the things that I own, right? That I own too many things, I think. Also, what does that say about us, like, with respect to how we treat each other, and how things, if everything is so replaceable, what about people? I don't know. I would say don't even get me started, but it's much too late for that. But so, yes, this is a slow fashion podcast, because this is something I really deeply, deeply care about, and it's something that I refuse to accept, that people are wasteful with their garments in that way. That's not okay. Like, it's just not okay. It's just not an option. And if I can make one person aware of that, and that's a good thing. Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys, now I need my notes for this. I have been thinking, because I've been podcasting now for a few months, should we do a knit-along or a mend-along? Because I've been thinking a mend-along might be fun in terms of, like, for example, mend one thing a week leading up to Christmas or the holidays, like whichever you're celebrating, even if you're not celebrating them, just like to have a date to finish by. Mend one thing every week leading up to Christmas, because I think that helps us focus on the things that we have and that we can still use rather than on the things that we need or think that we need. Sometimes we do need, and many things we want and think we need, right? And then we never get to around to using them, or we don't end up liking them, or people just give you stuff that you never asked for and you don't know what to do with that, and you know the whole shebang. So, now it's getting loud outside. I hope you don't hear. But so I thought maybe that would be fun mend-along, to like do one job a week because that's feasible, and helps us focus on like what we have and also on our own self-sufficiency, instead of focusing on I want this, I want that, I need this, I need that, which we don't. Usually we don't need that many things. So that is one idea. Or because I've cast on my festive yoke sweater that I would love to have finished by Christmas, we could also do a knit along in the sense of finish that sweater by Christmas, you know, something like that. So that might be an idea. Seems fun to me, but it all like depends on whether you would actually want to participate. So I'm just putting it out there. These are ideas. I have ideas for other knit-alongs or mend-alongs or make-alongs for the future. But I could set up a Ravelry group and we could run a finished object thread there, and also have a hashtag for Instagram. So that might be fun. And I could, I could pull a winner at the end. I could pull a prize at the end. I could do a little giveaway. If anyone, if any of you guys are makers out there, in the sense that you have, like you're a yarn dyer or a project bag maker or whatever, and you want to donate a prize, then maybe just contact me on Instagram. Don't at all feel pressured. I also have ideas for prizes, but just in case anyone feels like donating a prize, that would obviously be awesome. You could just let me know via Instagram. So that's just ideas. I would love it if you commented below on whether you would be interested in a mend along or a knit along. You could also say like which one you would prefer. I mean, we can also run them parallelly, because you can mend one thing a week and also try to finish your sweater until Christmas, right? That is, why not, right? So we could do both of those, or maybe you say a mend along would be fun for the start of the new year to get some of the mends out of the way, but we could also like keep that going. We don't have to stop at Christmas, because I really like the idea of, with mending, you focus on what you have and also on your abilities, and not so much on all the things that need to come your way. Because like I said before, just because it's holiday season, it doesn't mean you have to buy all the things. It really does not. Relax into the situation, be mindful, take stock, and also allow yourself to say no thank you, right? I did that just the other day when someone wanted to give my kids presents, and I said, well, maybe this and that, but please not for the little one, because she doesn't need anything at all. And then they said, okay, so but what else can I get them? And I said, well, that's really enough, because A, they're going to be thrilled, and that's the entire goal, right? And also B, we have to just like somehow juggle our stuff in 3 rooms, right? In our 3-room apartment. And that's okay to say no thank you. That's enough. So yeah, how did I get there? Oh, with the mending. So let me know what you think about a knit along and or mend along. What are your thoughts? Yeah, let me know. As for reading, I have continued reading Brené Brown, The Atlas of the Heart, in the mornings, and not every morning, but yeah, on some mornings, and I make slow but steady progress, I want to say. Then again, because I don't, because it's just not as much reading time in the morning. But with that book, I like slow progress because it's also like food for thought. You have to think about what you read. You have to have the time to have it sink in and, ponder. You have to give yourself the time to ponder and to linger a little bit, right? So yeah, it's slow progress, but it is progress and it is appropriate for the read, I feel like. Oh, and that's the book that I'm talking about. I have it right here. It's amazing. I love it. I'm almost halfway through, so yeah, it's not a lot for all the weeks that I've been reading this, but it's not about speed, right? Other than that, I don't think I have any more to say today, which it's not too bad because I've been talking for so long. I will talk to you again in the near future about the, whatever sort of decision I will have made on the knit along mend along question. It's all about your participation, right? So yeah, I want to make sure that you're even interested in that, or that it would bring you joy or fit into your schedule or be something that you value creatively, sort of. Yeah, so do let me know what you think about it, what your preferences are, and then I'll go from there and let you know what we're going to do. So, as always, feel free to like and subscribe below. I really do appreciate it, and I'm really excited to talk to you again soon. If you do want to support this podcast in any way, shape, or form, just know that there's a Ko-fi page out there, which is also linked below for you, like all of the show notes, all of the things that I talked about. And yeah, if you do feel like heading over there and getting me a small cup of coffee, emphasis on small, which I will always interpret as like black or green tea, because I don't do coffee. But then you can do that, but don't at all feel pressured. You're more than welcome to just be here and hang and join me and keep me company, or allow me to keep you company. There is no expectation from my side. I just wanted to put it out there that this page exists. Right. Okay. As always, find a little something that you can mend in your life. Happy knitting, happy mending, happy stitching, making, crochet, whatever it is that you're doing. Thank you so much for hanging with me, for listening to me chat around about everything. And yeah, I'm very much looking forward to talking to you again soon. Okay, take care, guys. Bye.